Okay, well this is an ampule, and not many of our medications come in ampules. This is one that does sometimes. It's epinephrine. And you can see there, this is the 1 to 1,000 concentration. So this is the kind of epinephrine that we might use for anaphylaxis that we're going to give IM to somebody. And the thing about these vials, this is just a lidocaine vial that came out of a suture kit. The thing about these vials is that it's scored right around the neck. And one thing that you want to remember about them is that that is sharp. And sometimes there's little shards that are left there that'll catch you. So you want to be very careful of that because you don't want to get cut. And if you do cut yourself on it, then now you have to get a new vial because you've introduced biological material into the medication, and you don't want to be injecting that into a patient. A lot of times the medication is up in the top. You need to get the medication down. You can do that by tapping it. Don't get too crazy because you can tap that right off of there. Another way that you see people do it is they kind of like rotate it like this to get it down, or kind of, you won't be able to see this, but around and around and around to let centrifugal force get it out of there. So how do you get this out of here? Let me see what I did with my equipment here. What I'll usually do is take like a 2x2 or 4x4. You don't even need to open it. Like if you just have the envelope with this on there. And the reason why you want to use this is, again, because you don't want to cut yourself on the glass. If you just do this, I've cut myself right along here on my thumb several times. So if you use this, you're not going to hurt yourself, or you have less likelihood to hurt yourself. And then usually I don't snap towards me, I snap away. So you just grasp the vial, grasp the top, and there you go. And you can see right on top there, nice sharp piece ready to cut you. So that's why you want to be careful. Both of these pieces will eventually have to go into the sharps container. So keep that in mind because they are sharp. And then you have to draw it up. And so what we're going to use here to draw it up, we're going to use our VEC syringe that we used earlier. Now most texts recommend you using a filter needle to draw this up, and this is a filter needle. And the reason is because if there's any glass shards inside of here, you don't want to be injecting it. There's a lot of texts that say that that's kind of a theoretical type risk, and it usually doesn't happen. But definitely follow how your medical director wants to do it, and I would recommend it if you have the filter needle to go ahead and do it. So the filter needle is sharp enough to puncture rubber containers. Shouldn't be sharp enough really to puncture your skin unless you're getting really aggressive with it. So I mean, I think if you had on the syringe and just went, "Urgh," I think you would puncture your skin. So there's a couple of ways to draw it out. The one that I recommend is just putting the filter needle all the way to the bottom into the side of it. I don't know if you can see that, where I have it just kind of down at the bottom, and then just start drawing back until you start getting air. So drawing it out. Okay, that's all of our medication, and you can get the air out of the syringe. There you go. So before you would administer it, of course, you would want to take this filter needle off. You don't want to give someone an IM shot with this blunt filter needle and put on another needle. So if you're giving an IM shot, either like a 25 or a 21 would work. I definitely wouldn't be using an 18 gauge needle. That's going to leave a big hole. So there is another way that I've seen people do it, and I mean, it's not bad. If you turn this upside down, it's not going to come out. There's a natural water tension that's kept right here that keeps it from coming out, and so you can put the needle in and just start withdrawing the medication this way. You can see some of it got wasted, so that would be a reason why not to do it. What I see people do and make a mistake with is you'll only do this once. You have it like this and you have air in the syringe and you push air in, it's just going to pour out. So, you know, the way I'd recommend doing it is down in the bottom like I showed you the first time. Okay. Okay, I think the last thing I want to show you for this is IVs. You guys are all used to starting IVs, so nothing new here. And for the people that work in Farmington, it won't be a shock either. This is the normal type of IV catheter, and the same type that we use at the school. And this is a 20 gauge IV catheter. And so the way that the safety mechanism works on this is that you push it forward, advance it into the vessel, and it locks. And of course this comes out and the needle is in here and you can throw it in the sharps. Okay, so we all know that. The one thing I wanted to show you so that you're prepared for it is that the hospital here in Farmington has gone to a different type of IV catheter. And they've replaced all the IV catheters in the hospital, except like maybe some people that are hoarding the old ones. And they're a little bit, I don't know, they're just different. You know, at first people thought that they were more difficult, but I think that was just kind of a learning curve. And one of the things that's more difficult is securing it if it's in a weird place. And like if you have a patient that the only vein they have is on a finger and you've got this part left, this green part, it can become difficult compared to the old ones to secure. But the way that these work is they have this extension set already on them, and you can see it's got a clamp on it and it's got a cap on the end. And so what you do is advance it. You know, you remember how like with the old ones you would kind of twist this to free it up on the needle. We kind of have to do the same thing on these, and these are even more difficult. So you have to pull this white part back. There we go. That's freed up. And it goes in the same way. You know, you go in, down, and then you advance it off of there. And then you pull it all the way back. And the way that you can tell, instead of getting a flash up here, you actually get a flash all around the catheter. And that's your indication that you have a flash. And then you can advance it, and what will happen is the blood, I'm going to put the lid back on here, the blood will actually travel all the way up this tube and will stop here. This will stop it. And then what you do is you can clamp your clamp, take this out, and if you want to do BGL, there's usually a drop of blood right in the end of there to do BGL. And then you just put on your male adapter or saline lock cap right on the end there, and then it's ready to go. And I'll show you how the needle comes out. It actually withdraws completely out of this and leaves you a sharp. So we'll show you that in a second. Okay, so I wanted to show you a couple other things here. This is the start kit that we use at the hospital. And so what comes in it is a roll of tape, a Tegaderm for securing the IVs. This is usually a tourniquet that's rolled up into a tight ball. And then your cleaning device is chlorhexidine plus alcohol, and then a 2x2 to wipe up any mess that you make. Not that we ever make a mess, right? So, and of course the other thing you're going to need is this male adapter cap. Sorry, my camera's kind of set up precariously. Some of you might know it as a HEP lock or saline lock. And of course, we put the tourniquet on the patient. I'm going to get your IV catheter out. Nice 24 gauge IV catheter. And remember I said you want to kind of advance it a little bit. You just pull that white thing back. That just kind of breaks it free from when they had it in the after it's been manufactured. It kind of sticks a little bit. So you want to find a vein. Let's see here. Is there any good veins here? My light kind of sucks, but you know, kind of sucks in the helicopter too. So we'll see how this goes. I haven't done this in a long time. So, you know, usually they recommend you doing circles. There's a couple things I want to say about this that we've seen other people do. Is they'll wipe it and then they'll touch to feel the vein. That's not acceptable. You've just now contaminated your site. Once you wipe it, there's no more touching. Okay. Sometimes you'll see people wipe the end of their glove and then touch it. I don't know whether that's acceptable or not. The thing about alcohol is it needs to dry to actually provide the antiseptic to kill the bacteria and microbes on your skin. And chlorhexidine doesn't. Chlorhexidine can be wet, but it will sting when it's wet. So I think I'll let mine dry. So whatever you do, don't tell Diane I'm doing this, because I'll probably get in trouble. So find it exactly the same way. Stick it in. You should see a flash. See that flash come up there? Then, you know, come down a little bit and then advance it just a millimeter or two. Then this little thumb thing, you want to hold the white part and advance the gray part. Okay, so now it's all the way in. You can see that it's coming up the tube. It's not going to go anywhere because of the cap that's on the end. Now, just keeping your finger on the gray part, you just pull the white part all the way back until it clicks. You can see the needles there, and it just comes off. Now what you have left is this area. This is not a port. You can't put anything in there. I'm going to take the tourniquet off because my hand's going numb. Okay, so what you can do is you can click that off. You can pull this off, okay, and then put this on. Remember, if you want to do a BGL, there is a little drop of blood right there. And then you want to secure it. And so this securing device, let's see if I can do this. If any of you guys have never started an IV on yourself, I don't recommend it. Yeah, see? Goes sideways. So you can see on this securing device how it's kind of shaped. What that's designed for, you want to make sure that this whole thing is covered up and that the sight is in the window. And so this is how you normally do that. Just like that. It comes with a couple of other pieces. Comes with this little one that you could maybe use. You know, go across there. And then it comes with a bigger one. And where I see most people put that is right over the site again, like right there. Then you're set. So pretty easy, just, you know, a little bit extra step. There is supposedly, per the manufacturer, no blood on this. It gets squeegeed off in this little piece here, but the sharp is protected, but you do still want to throw it in the sharps. So that's it. Hope that was helpful. Hopefully we can practice a couple in the class. We can get a hold of a couple of these. We just want to make sure you're proficient with the others before you start using these ones because they're a little more expensive.